Now, here's your hosts, the League Dad, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair.
What's up, gamers, and welcome to an all-new episode of the All In Podcast. I said a new episode of the All In Podcast. I don't even know what I'm saying, really. It's the first episode back of Season 4, guys. We've made it to Season 4. I think our last podcast was, maybe a month ago or whatever? It's been a while, and all of you guys honestly look like you've changed so much, in this version, like this way.
By
that I mean holiday weight is what I'm saying.
We just got called fat on a podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
half the people can't even see us, man. You could have just said nothing.
I'm trying to give them a mental description. By the way, this is not just exclusive to one person. I think all of us have kind of gotten that holiday happiness going on.
Joke's on you. I lost weight.
Oh,
man, what's wrong with you, man? Just kidding. That's cool. Did you guys have a good break? Relaxing, good times?
Pretty uneventful for me.
Yeah, I worked a lot, and then all my friends went to different states, so just kind of hung out on my own. Actually, I got my good friend here for you YouTube viewers. Hung out with that friend.
For you audio guys, it's White Claw. He's adulting.
Yeah, it's a hard seltzer. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it's been good. It's been good. Honestly, playing League, I love playing League in the off season because you just don't have to care about your rank at all. And my queues are so long in my normal queues, ARAM queues, everything. So I'll just go into ranked and just not give a crap and play whatever I want.
Yeah.
I've been playing LeBlanc support. Alistair would hate me. Actually, I've played LeBlanc support with Alistair, and he hated it.
But I've played 13 times, but you know.
Yeah. And then, but I just play it anyways. I build Everfrost. I go Ingenious Hunter, and I'm just really annoying. Sometimes I go like 2 and 10. Other times I'm like 15 and 4, and it's very.
You're living on that edge, man.
It's very fun though. It's so much fun because if you like start killing people in lane and running around, you're like a mid lane LeBlanc, just running around, not having to farm. You got a support item, killing everybody. It's really fun. Really fun.
Yeah.
My break was okay. I also worked a bit. I was told, and I think this makes sense. I was told like, hey, other people are taking it off, and there's really not much you have to do in your work from home. So like, you could not take it off and then just take it off later when you need it. And I'm like, that's a good idea, boss man. So that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty smart.
And then I read a book, which was interesting.
Oh, what book did you read?
It was called Ask Iwata. It was just a bunch of stuff from the Nintendo president and just like his words of wisdom. It was a very interesting read, honestly. Like, even though it's nonfiction stuff, it was pretty fun to read.
Wow,
that's a smart guy, to say the least.
Nice.
I'm trying to make reading a thing for my 2022 New Year's resolution because I just don't read that much, and so let me clarify: reading for fun, like so fiction, and I just want to get into reading. So I read. Don't laugh because I know many people have read this when they were like in middle school, but I just read Ender's Game for the first time. I don't know if you guys have ever read that book, but I really enjoyed it, and I read it like over the break, and so now I'm full in on the reading thing, man. I'm trying to get smart, So, yeah. Alistair, you said, "Oh, go ahead."
Sorry, I have Dune on like a backlog in my local library, so I'm trying to read that. That was a good movie, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Apparently the book's really good too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I definitely want to check that out. Alistair, you said yours was uneventful. Did you end up going home, or did you stay around campus, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I went home
cool.
for about 2 weeks. First time flying. Other than that, saw family. Didn't have a computer, so I got a break from League, which was nice.
Did you come back? Did you come back rusty, or is it like riding a bike?
First couple games were rough, and then it was pretty easy again.
Smooth sailing.
Nice,
man.
Okay. Sometimes I feel like when I don't play for a while, when I first come back, I'm playing like the best I've ever played in so long.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I wonder why, like, for some people it's like that, but for others it's like they're rusty, and then they need a couple warm-up games to get back into it. It's kind of interesting. Differs from people to people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because when I do come back from a break, I play really good. So I'm like, oh man, I can climb easy. And I start playing a few games. I'm like, oh crap, never mind. It's like it gets me back, and then I'm just like, all right. Yeah, I think the moment I start caring is when I start like just losing and messing up. I feel like I play much better when I'm like, there's no pressure. I haven't played in a while anyways. I'm gonna suck, you know, and then I end up playing well. So I definitely know the feeling, but it's always fun coming back. All right, let's get into some league action because it's here. We haven't talked since, you know, the end of Worlds last season, and so there's a lot that went on, and you know, lots of big moves. The LCS looks completely different, so there's a lot to dive into. I really want to know, and I think we kind of have a consensus here, but what are the most exciting offseason moves in the LCS? And I think we're all in agreement. Is it Team Liquid's like massive super team here and the return of Bjergsen?
No, that's so boring. Psh, old news. Yeah, that's. Go ahead, Kevin.
I mean, I was gonna say honestly, the C9 thing with LS being confirmed, because we were super unsure about that a month ago. That's honestly really exciting. But like on paper, with all like name power wise, it's clearly Team Liquid, right? But I think Cloud9's actually, unironically, a close second, because there is going to be some really, really spicy threads coming up, and I'm all for it. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm with Kevin. I mean, maybe it's because I'm kind of burnt out from the hype of Bjergsen because we talked about it so much. But I always like seeing new names, especially when it comes to Cloud9, because they have a history of developing talent. And Summit came from Korea, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
He's
pretty,
a
he was
pretty
on
legendary
Sandbox.
not legendary. He's a very good top laner from Sandbox, and he's been there like top 5 for a while.
I don't recognize Berserker and Isles, or sorry, Berserker and Winsome.
Berserker
I recognize
is
Isles.
Korean challenger player, I believe. Yeah. I don't know where Winsome is from.
And one that's news to me that I just learned is Fudge is now mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know about
man.
that.
Yeah.
One of the goals that LS said was that he wants Fudge to be a top mid laner or top 3 mid or something like that in LCS.
I thought he said the best mid laner.
Yeah, I think it was the best. I think you're right, and that's pretty crazy.
LS was also like, we're gonna make it past quarters this year. I'm like,
good.
Yeah, sure.
Lofty goals. Okay, so it's actually kind of odd that none of us jumped into Team Liquid, but I think Alistair, you're right. There's been so much about it, right? And that was a long time ago, and I think the hype has kind of died down. So we'll get into it.
Talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it, but we'll talk about it more. But you know, the C9 thing is interesting because what do you guys think about the LS move? Because I know there are some people out there that think he's super smart at the game and really can make a lot of teams better. While I think others, he's been known at times to make claims and say things that are kind of like, I don't really know about that, questionable kind of thing. So what do you guys think? Is it going to be good, bad, or what are your thoughts on the whole LS coming over from Korea, where he's been for so long and now on C9?
So my read on LS is he is very smart at the game, but the issue I've always had with him is he is extremely one-track mind when it comes to the game. And a lot of the time you look at, listen to, the old LCK casts he's done where he flames a lot of the drafting when the draft pick isn't a bad pick, but because LS has a very specific way that he wants to play the game, champions like Gnar are trash for that style. And which is a good and bad thing because I can see him having a lot of really good draft decisions, but I'm also curious as to how he's going to adapt because you can't play every game as a 45-minute scaling game, and that's how he wants to play every game.
Typical LCK right there.
Yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment because you can't play scaling every game, and he overindulges in the fact that basically early game champions suck always, all the time. But that's like banking on the fact that the other team that you're playing against is playing to the same philosophy that you are. If the other team does not play to the same philosophy as you are, they don't care about the same type of wave manipulation where you're always going for freezes, because that's basically what LS does. He almost always goes for freezes and wave manipulation, but if the enemy team doesn't give a crap and they're constantly shoving so they can get prio for their jungle and support and invade, then you cannot play the same style. I've thought about this LS thing for honestly years since he's become a prominent figure in League, where scaling, right? I used to watch his stream and his codecast where he talks a lot about Magic and compares how it's like basically how team comps sort of interact
Yep.
with each other as
Mm-hmm.
a whole. And he disregards lane matchups a ton. Like he does recognize them, but he's so overindulgent in team comp overall and like 5v5s or 1-4s split pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And he forgets how much, like, how often, especially in Modern League, like 2v2, 3v3 skirmishes, and like honestly player tendencies of if you win a scuttle fight, I mean, with new scuttle changes might be different, right? But definitely in 2021,
Yeah.
winning scuttle fights and stuff like that, it snowballs so hard, and all of a sudden it doesn't matter what your draft is, right? All that mattered was you had more tools in the early game to win that early scuttle fight, to snowball into a dragon, to snowball into a blue buff steal, and to boom. And I feel like LS the entire time is just flaming like, well, you could have done this, this, and this and given up and just scaled to 35 minutes, but that's just not how
It's
Modern
not
League
always
works
the
all the
case.
time. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with Alistair in that sentiment that he's very one track minded in scaling.
And he recognized that, because he is, especially when it comes to champions that he thinks are good in the meta. He did concede. I forget what interview it was, but he did concede that he will, obviously have to listen to players' ideas because he can't just force what he wants,
Yeah.
down
Don't
their
get me
throat.
wrong. He's a very smart guy. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like half the time it's for the content. Half the time
True.
where he's like, Nar sucks, Renekton sucks. It's for the content, the
Yeah.
church or whatever he calls it, right?
Yeah.
Because I promise you, C9 is gonna pick some early game comps. They just are,
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
everyone's gonna be like LS. And when they lose, everyone's gonna be like, "What happened to the scaling?" Right? But I don't think LS is that dumb where he's never going to, in his words, sin.
Yeah.
Right? It's gonna happen. He's gonna pick some early game comps. And then if he does, and they keep winning and stuff, then he'll be a good coach.
Yeah.
He'll just say things on his Twitch channel that are interesting.
Got to grab the
Mhm.
headlines. That's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, I agree with you. I've been watching LS since Brew War. Like, he tried to play pro in StarCraft 2. He's been
Yeah.
doing a bunch of stuff in esports for a while, and a lot, some of it, I won't say all of it or even a lot of it, but some of it's definitely played up for the audience, played up for the stream. And he is willing to, like, pick center picks and be like, hey, you should go for this if that's what his team would do. Like, if you watched him when he coached BBQ Olivers, like, there's just times where they would pick like Gnar or other things they think are trash or are bad picks, just because it made sense in the situation. I think he's oftentimes caveated with if it makes sense in the situation, like pick this or pick that, which is why it's so infamous when it's like B5 or what, or not B, is it B5 or R5 Renekton, like how bad of a pick that is, stuff like that, right?
Either one is pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes, and so like I have a lot of respect for him in the sense that I think that you watch teams like RNG in both iterations when they won MSI, or just other teams in general, like they play one track mind too. Like honestly, you need identity, you need to own it. They they brought over basically a Korean team and then a challenger team that can also practice with them. So I think they're gonna go pretty far. I don't think they'll go far immediately. I mean, you need a coach to get to there, but it's gonna be a pretty scary team. And I think Summit is probably maybe slightly worse than Alfari in laning phase, but overall I think is a better player. From what I
Yeah.
remember, the
He's
thing
gonna
is
come
it's
in
in
as
Korea only. He's gonna be
I
pretty scary.
yeah, I think he's gonna come in as the best top laner in
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that's
league.
that's my read too.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
Whippo's laning at least will look in the same realm,
Plus,
especially
he's just
because he's
coming
lane
off of
swapping.
jungle. Yeah, he's coming
Yeah,
off of jungle.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But Fudge is going to mid, so it balances it
Yeah,
out.
that's going to be interesting. But I mean, if they can pull that off, that would be pretty insane. Let's talk about Team Liquid because again, this is
Oh.
the most overhyped
Okay.
team with
I wouldn't
moves.
say overhyped. I think the hype's
Okay.
realistic.
I think the hype
I
is
mean-
very
The hype
real.
is maybe overhype is not what I mean. It's just like you see it everywhere because obviously it is the biggest news. But they have a super team. I mean, Bjergsen is out of retirement. You've got freaking Hans Sama coming over, who's like a really good ADC. You got Core JJ, the savior of NA, paired up with Bjergsen, who's like the most winningest player in the. I don't know if he's the most winningest, but he's up there like as far as LCS. Like that's just amazing. And then of course you got Whipple coming in, who's. I mean, I'm like okay. I think Whipple's pretty good. I think he's got some good moments, and he definitely always is hungry to compete. So I think we have a team of really driven people big names. This is a big kind of risk, right? Because they're putting it all here. But let's talk about them. What do you guys think?
Well, first thing I'll say is I'm pretty sure we say that every year about Team Liquid.
Yeah.
But I mean, my only question mark is Santorin. I think he's
Yeah.
good, but I felt like he wasn't performing as well as he could have been towards the end of last year. Obviously, there was the stint where he was subbed out
Hmm.
for health reasons. I think it was.
Yeah, migraines.
Yeah. But I'm I'm very happy that they have Hansama. I've been a Hansama fan for a while, and I'm hoping he doesn't die in Team
In
Liquid.
NA, yeah.
Yeah,
But
me too.
them not having tactical is definitely a benefit, considering how he was playing at the end of
Dang it, he
the.
went to TSM.
Yeah,
The
he
old team.
did.
He went back to TSM.
He
Oh
went
yeah,
back
back
to
to TSM. You're
TSM.
right.
Yeah. I think that Team Liquid is very exciting. I have to agree. I've been a big Santorin fan since like FlyQuest, right? Um, yeah, he did not play well at Worlds. He didn't play
Mm-mm.
well. He was playing well, very well in playoffs, except the finals. Honestly, when you look at the finals, it was kind of on him and Alfari who really dropped the ball in finals against 100 Thieves. Um, and Santorin also did not play great at Worlds, I thought. I think he had a few good games on Xinjiao, and everybody else, it felt very lackluster for Santorin. I hope he has his health issues back together. I've been a really big fan of his because I feel like he treads the line of being like an Xmithy type jungle for Team
Mm-hmm.
Liquid, but
Yeah.
also he's willing to play aggressive picks and actually make big plays. Um, we've seen him, have hard carry performances a lot of the time on both FlyQuest and early Team Liquid days. So exciting for that. Bwipo, I actually think is pretty good, but he is such an emotional player that it's
Mm-hmm.
really scary that they got another top laner right after Alfari to be an incredibly emotional player.
Yeah.
That's just always been my thing with Bwipo. All of his time on Fnatic, drama this, drama that. There's a tweet, there's his girlfriend, there's this blah blah blah. This thing he said. It's literally been since he joined Fnatic and he subbed out SOAS at Worlds, and they got 3-0 in finals anyways, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that is my main worry because that's what plagued Team Liquid from winning pretty much anything important in 2021 was drama,
Yeah.
right? Alfari and Santorin and blah 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 and tactical inting his brains off. That's what caused Team Liquid issues
Yeah.
and caused them to lose to both
Or
C9
was
and
it
100 Thieves
Jat?
finals. It was it's just drama, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is freaking drama, right? And that they didn't change that. They still have Bwipo. They still have Santorin with health issues, maybe. I don't know. Hans Sama seems pretty dramaless, but Bjergsen, right? He's saying on YouTube and Twitch that he's gonna burn all of his TSM jerseys. Like
Oh gosh.
Well, that's not
my
really drama
fear
starting. That's just for fun at that
I think,
point.
as
and
okay,
yeah.
but
The other ones, I agree though.
let me just say that my fear of Team Liquid is not their skill or their play. It is the fact that there's going to be drama. People are going to get subbed out. There's going to be weird coaching stuff.
Mm.
And that's what's going to plague them from winning championships this year. And maybe
Tilt.
having a good time at Worlds. Yeah.
Nice.
I think tactical did have upside. And I don't think it's actually that much lower than Hansama. I do think the consistency is where you'll see a lot more results from. When you saw other teams switch out their AD carries, like EG from Deathly to not John, well, also Johnson, but then later on to, what was his
Danny.
name?
Danny.
Yeah, like you saw, sorry, not EG, but that was Dick in Johnson's case. Anyways, when you saw Danny come in, like you saw a huge change, right? Even though like he didn't necessarily upgrade the skill level of his teammates or anything, but that's a big deal when you're stable, and that's why AD carries like Reckless have been like superstars for so long, barring this year. I think that there will be drama. I think that when you're the most powerful team on paper, like there's just gonna be drama, right? Like you do anything wrong, you're gonna get flack, and if you do well, you're probably still gonna get hype, but people will be waiting, right? The second you
Yeah.
make a mistake. So I think it's inevitable. I think it's also the reason why you see this Liquid take this position, right, of this kind of Like, yep, they're probably going to be drama. They're probably going to mess up, or they could mess up because of internal. I do think it is weird that we picked Whippo, of all the top laners, to replace Outfire. Not because I don't think you should take risks, right? He has a lot of upside and he has a lot of experience, which is great, especially when you're working with Bjergsen. I just think that because we already have a history of not being able to manage egos, one way or another, like I don't know if it was Alfire's fault or Team Liquid's fault. It's probably 70-30 if I had to say, and I probably think it's more Liquid's fault in managing him because he didn't have that many issues before Team Liquid. So
yeah,
it's a little hard for me to say. So I think that you should take risks. I think Whipple is worth the risk. It's just weird that Liquid's the one taking that risk. Long story
They
short.
should have gotten Impact again with this roster.
I don't know if Impact wanted to come. I don't know if Impact wanted to leave EG. That's the thing.
That's fair.
He's pretty
but
happy
if they
there,
could have,
if they could have, yeah, you would want an Impact there and play
I feel
around
like it would have been
Hanzama.
so much better roster for them.
Have you guys happened to catch any of the in-house scrims that Core JJ set up on like YouTube? Yeah, like I just so there were some games where like I know Core and Whippo were on comms, and like some of his newer teammates, they were on comms, and the communication seemed pretty cool. Like I mean it obviously not super competitive, but it was interesting to see. First of all, I just love hearing how like Core JJ communicates, because it really gives us insight to like how he can really help direct his team and stuff. So I'm wondering though, like with the drama again, you guys mentioned it, but there's 5 people here, but at least we know Whippo, Bjergsen, Core JJ. I'm sure Hanzama and Santorin to some extent too, but we know those 3 are really hard workers, really grinding to the top, really like competitive about the game. And I'm just wondering, like during the game, when it comes down to the wire, whose call is gonna be the loudest? Whose decision's gonna go? And I think
it'll be Core JJ.
Well, I mean, it may be so, but what I'm saying is I hope that they at least have those expectations clear from the get-go, because when it does matter, when it's on the line, everything's on the line, you have to follow one voice, and they have to decide now who that voice is going to be. And I agree, it probably will be Core,
follow
but
the world champion. Yeah, follow
exactly.
the world champion. Yeah,
I'm just hoping that that's the rest of the team. There's no egos here, especially from the newer guys coming in saying it should be me instead, because I do agree.
I will
it should
say
be
with
Core.
all the like kind of like moderate, negativity / setting expectations for Team Liquid, like this team is crazy though. Like if it does fire, if it like even if it hits like honestly, if it hits like 80% of the potential of the players on that roster, this team will be able to get past quarters.
This team
at least
should
for
get...
Liquid's case, get to quarters. But I think they could get past quarters on like a decent amount of the group draws. Like you probably can't beat China #1, you can't beat LCK #1, but you could do some damage to a Gen G or like a LNG. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean maybe not LNG now because they have Doinby, but
right. Old LNG. They have Doinby with Tarzan. I'm terrified, dude. How is that okay?
Yeah. But I think from an international standpoint, sure, maybe, I don't know. But from a domestic standpoint, right? Because that's what we're looking at ahead of time.
Yeah.
This roster is basically kind of like what it was supposed to be last year, or what C9 was supposed to be last year. They should win everything this year.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's not like a failure, but it's definitely a disappointment, and it's a bit unexpected if they don't win lock-in spring, summer. Like this team should absolutely be first against probably C9 in the finals, every single final this year. And if they're not,
I feel like too, if they don't win, and let's say C9 does win, I think this will also kind of be a real showing of like kind of the changing of the guard or the strategy of moving forward to how to get better, right? Because Team Liquid is still going with these well-known names. I mean, Bjergsen retired, for crying out loud, and he's coming back. And while he is still Bjergsen, his skills, watching him on stream, and I've heard other analysts say that he has lost a touch. It's not easy to stay at the top at such a high level. And so, does that win still with the big names and the big synergy and, the accomplishments that you had, or someone like a Cloud9 where they're investing in, really getting these young players such as Summit and Berserker and Winsome, even Fudge to some extent, and Blabber's like the oldest there, I believe, and
Yeah, that's crazy.
so it's crazy to hear
Blabber?
that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so here's the thing: if C9 wins it, then does that kind of make a definitive argument in case that we need to just really invest all our money in young talent? Because if you think about it, yeah, go ahead, Alice. Let me hear your thoughts.
I do want to say I do kind of feel like you guys are sleeping on EG, but also sleeping on the defending champions right now.
True.
I don't think this is just C9 TL. I think EG and I think 100 Thieves are still. I think they're still contenders.
Yeah,
I don't think this is a two-man show like it used to be, and we saw that last year, and I think it's going to. I think it's going to continue.
Those are very good points. I think EG. I mean, their mid laner JoJo is kind of a question mark, but for sure, EG 100 Thieves, crazy rosters. We saw what 100 Thieves could do with such a new roster. I'm really excited for Tenacity. I know that someday, great legacy player, you want to keep him around for stability, but someday was probably their weakest player all of last year, and I feel like if we bring in Tenacity, 100 Thieves could definitely be breaking some records and breaking some knees on some horses. That could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do horses have knees?
Yes, they have knees. Man.
I don't know if those that part of their legs are called a knee for a horse. I don't know.
Maybe they're not, but they're where their leg bends.
There's a joint there.
Where you would think there would be
Just a random question for those equestrians out there.
Somebody let us know. Tweet it to us.
Do horses have knees?
Leave a comment. I just don't know.
So I wanted to go back to, I absolutely think that, again, this has kind of been a argument kind of brewing on how do we get better. And, talking about older veterans who teams are recruiting, who are getting paid and this, overinflated market, you have people like Jensen who aren't even in the LCS, right? And it's a sad thing because he's still one of the best. And the fact that he doesn't have a team is, it's not that he's not good enough, but it means that he's just too expensive. And, that might be even pushing teams to just not really have a choice and say, hey, we're going all in for the younger talent so that we can, because we can't afford that. And, we saw the kind of experiment with Perks fail, it was, I don't want to say fail, but it wasn't to what our expectation was with what he was paid. And so, I find myself thinking that, this may be, if Team Liquid, if that experiment doesn't work, I think we might be seeing the end of buying big bucks for big names. Kind of thing. So
it depends.
Honestly, it shouldn't be that big of a bucks. I think they deserve to be paid, but it depends on the different scenarios. And honestly, it might be more sort out than Perks in some ways, because Perks at least got him to MSI, won a split, got second at lock-in, and got them as the furthest of any NA team at Worlds. There's a lot of caveats, but they did fine.
There's a lot of caveats. Yeah.
TSM didn't get anywhere last year, and they paid more for the salary at least, not the buyout.
Yep.
I think with the unfortunately, I don't agree that even if Team Liquid does fail, that all of a sudden teams are going to stop buying imports, because if you look at Team Liquid and honestly you look at Perks, they're EU imports, right? Maybe teams stop buying EU imports, but Korean, China imports are never going to stop. As long as those regions keep winning Worlds, they will never stop for NA. I don't think so, at least. So I do think if we ever get a chance to buy Chovy, it doesn't matter how many Team Liquids and different versions, how many Vitalities fail. Some team in NA will still buy Chovy. Some team in NA will still buy BDD. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say that the new talent thing will really stick on, because the Jensen not finding a team, that's a pretty big deal. But it's Jensen, it's not Chovy, it's not BDD, it's not Ruler. You know what I mean? And these guys are very clearly pretty washed when it comes to international. BDD and Ruler, honestly, they had some of their best stuff this year in a long time, but they're not winning LCK. They're not going too much farther in Worlds than they've ever been. But NA will buy them.
Oh yeah,
in a split second,
absolutely.
No doubt. So, unfortunately, the all in on the new talent thing, I don't think that's going to catch on permanently at least for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll always be some. You know, and
There's
it's
always gonna be someone you can buy.
and it does, you know, like
Especially
I
if you're
guess.
Liquid Steve.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, part of it does still help bring in money because those people have fans. They will bring in fans because of the names and who they are and the hype that will come behind them. I mean, just Perks, that hype there, you know, I'm sure brought in a lot of fans for Cloud9, you know, and they already have a big fan base. So,
Think how many jerseys and sweaters they sold that just has C9 perks on it. It must have been
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah.
and
Now
now
it's
it's all
limited edition.
wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, limited. Now it's rare. Now it's a collector's item.
Dude,
I mean,
50 years, it's gonna be like $1 million on eBay.
The funny
Yeah,
thing that
it's
people
true.
haven't talked about for the Jensen thing is like he's not that people didn't want him. It's that he was either wanting to go to an elite team or being paid too much. One of the two for like a lower team, right? And neither
Right.
happened. So like it's not just that like people ignored talent or like they're blind to it. But he just wasn't picked up. And frankly, as someone who like has appreciated what Jensen has done for Liquid for so long, the problem is that like at least from the money side, like he's not worth it in terms of like a huge signing like value wise. Perks was a superstar. Like yes, so is Bjerg. Bjergsen's like similar skill to Jensen, maybe worse internationally, probably worse. But something like we don't talk about is like as much in the community is like these guys are worth so much in terms of what they're bringing in terms of hype, in terms of fans. Like Bjergsen's literally bringing TSM fans over. Maybe not all of them, maybe not even half of them, but
Big
it's
Dad.
One
worth
of
a
them.
lot, right? TSM
We
fans
got
are
1 and
valuable.
4 right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
see, we even brought over League Dad. That's like
Yep.
unthinkable. We've been doing this for so many years.
I
And
know.
he's like, and so here's the point. Like, you know, we have Reckless being a Ralph Lauren model. Like, we have Perks being like the Western goat. Like, there are so many other intangibles that like I don't think we're talked enough when we're just saying we forgot about Jensen or like how can no one pick him up. It's not that no one could pick him up. It's just that he may have a bad agent or maybe he just put the value too high and missed the mark based off last year's numbers. And this year's a recorrecting year, right? And we'll probably overpay again for like BDD when he has a bad year or something, or Chovy when he has
Yeah.
another year where he refuses to roam. I don't know. I mean, Chovy actually does roam, but you know that's the joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that Jensen will probably like come in the second split when he has seen his value like readjusted. It might go up if the mid laners are bad, by the way. But I
That's
don't
true.
think that I don't think Liquid put a buyout or anything major on him to stop him from going. So it's mostly
He's still
it's,
getting paid. He's still contracted to Team Liquid. He is
Yeah.
getting a salary doing nothing.
Oh,
yeah. I
then
don't
he
think
ain't
Liquid's
that mad.
I'm biased, but I don't think Liquid's the bad guy here. Okay, there are much
Yeah.
worse teams to treat their players than Team Liquid.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, it sucks he's not on a team, but
He still
I get
gets
a
money.
I get a vacation year and I
Heck
get
yeah.
money,
yeah.
and
I wouldn't mind it.
you get to sit back. You get to sit back and relax and see if Bjergsen can bring it. Because if Bjergsen cannot bring it, guess who's coming in to replace him, right?
Oh.
Talk about a
Is
storyline.
he eligible for the roster? That's something I don't understand about someone
I mean,
who's being put on payroll. But
Maybe
like,
not
on a
this
team.
year, or maybe not this split, but
Mhm.
summer split, anything's up for grabs, right? Bjergsen, let's say
Oh,
TSM or
that would
Team
be
Liquid,
crazy.
they don't win spring, they don't win lock in. Bjergsen is very clearly the weak link.
Oh man, that would be. Oh,
Jensen's right
man.
there. That would be the ultimate like redemption arc for Jensen.
Redemption
Like,
arc of Bjergsen's Jensen's life.
yeah,
Man. Just
Jensen is
completely.
like, yeah, number 2, replace me who? Exactly. So that could be really fun in a couple of months.
Oh
But
my
I mean,
gosh.
yeah, life is not honestly that bad for Jensen at all.
No.
He gets to sit back. I mean, if his team does well, right? That just also kind of means more money for Jensen because it's like I'm from Team Liquid. Like, I don't know, pay me more.
Pay me more.
So things
All
could
right.
be worse for him.
Should we let's talk about the meta because
the
patch
meta.
coming out, right? And the big one I think is the teleport change. So if you guys don't know, can somebody just give a brief description of how the teleport has changed? Because it's pretty significant, at least I think it is. But somebody
Yeah.
describe that for us.
All right, so I actually have it up right now.
Nice.
That's good. So basically, you can't TP to minions before 14 minutes. That's the big game-changing change. There's other stuff like before 14 minutes, you don't get the move speed. The cooldown's a little lower early, a little higher later. That's pretty negligible stuff. But the main thing and this is massive for top laners, is you cannot TP to minions before 14 minutes.
That includes wards, Jin
that includes
traps,
wards,
Zac
yeah.
blobs, only
Jack's
towers.
rest in pieces.
Everything,
Again, the
only
nerf.
towers. Yeah. So as a person who actually plays top lane, I'll go into it now. One of the biggest ways you can get screwed over in top lane is you kill your opponent and you try to shove the wave in, and they revive in time to TP on a minion, and they freeze the wave on you, and you get denied like 2 waves. And yeah, killing them was not worth it at all. Because even if you TP back, right, you still lost about a wave, and you still have to go into a wave that's being shoved against you and wait for it to shove back to you. Basically, for a solid minute or two, you're behind XP, even though you got a kill on them. So really big change for top lane. Also, in general, just like a big pro play change is going for a level 3 dive on bot lane. You bring your
Yeah.
jungler and your mid laner, and then your top laner TPs to the minion that is tanking the bot
Yeah,
tower,
that's right.
and you kill their bot lane 5v2 at like 3-4 minutes. You can't do that anymore. And that was honestly that was like a 100 Thieves staple. They did that every single game
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
in domestic. So those are the 2 big things I think of as a top laner that TP just kind of screws over a lot.
It is an unintentional buff to us regular people though, because
Yes.
you'll never ever TP back to lane and get double ganked by the jungler. I've done the double gank so many times where I'm like, what are you TPing here for?
Hashinshin nerf.
Actually, oh yeah, I've actually seen Hashinshin in solo queue. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
So have I.
But
It's not fun.
he's not very he's very greedy. I'll just leave it at that.
Anyways.
So unintentional buff there. But yes, it's a huge change, and I actually quite like it. I think that teleport has been slowly being put into a good position as people have gotten more creative and better about abusing it, right? So I think this is a healthy change. This is one of the only healthy changes in this patch, but it's a healthy change.
You mentioned it a little bit there, Mitchell, but this was a staple with 100 Thieves, and I'm sure a lot of teams, with those early dives, that's a pretty common strategy. And I'm wondering now, like, does that, it is kind of like, again, a lot of early game pressure. Does that, for those teams that rely on that, is that kind of a nerf to them in that play style because they can't do that anymore?
It's in a weird way if you think about it. It's like a huge buff to C9 and their scaling mentality that LS will have, right? Like that is something that can, if you play the game properly and you're evenly matched, you pull off that 5v2 bot lane play. Bot lane is doomed. It's over. You snowball. You take every dragon. You take every rift scuttle. It's gonna change the landscape of pro play a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
As the resident bot laner, I love this change because playing competitive or even solo queue, you ever try and go for 2v2 kill ever, you get double teleported on, you just lose the game. You don't get to play the game. Now I can actually solo kill without having to worry about being double teleported on. I love the change. It feels so good.
Yeah, bot laners, supports, even
it's
junglers.
It's a nerf to Ziggs. It's a nerf to Ezreal.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good
I like
point.
It.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with just that one change to teleport. So it'll be really interesting to see, how teams adapt to that, coming in.
It's going to be so forgiving, honestly. Like, because even when you think about top lane too, right? And like you're in a TP versus TP lane, and you do not have lane prio, like you get screwed over by the person who has a better lane prio and have TP. Like they can force TP advantages even, or they can force you to do really stupid stuff to break a freeze. Like it's gonna change top lane so much. Oh my goodness, and bot lane obviously, but like top lane is I think very clearly the one that's like individually impactful. This TP change is going to change so much for them. Funny enough, I feel like it's going to change very little for mid laners. Freezing is not that big of a deal in mid lane. Like you freeze like a wave or two maybe, but
Sure.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, what about these new dragons? Because that was another big change that Riot has put into the game. Again, preseason is all about them changing everything up, adding some things here and there. So I got to get your thoughts because we haven't discussed this yet. What do you guys think of the dragons? What do you guys think of the new, buffs and stuff?
I'll be honest, I don't like them. I like the Hextech gates. Aside from that, I think everything else is a failure. That's a lie. I like the static shiv on Hextech Dragon, but the individual dragon buffs, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't like them, and Chemtech Dragon is the biggest abomination
I
since
hate
Zoe on
that one.
release.
It's
Yeah.
so terrible.
It's literally just a win harder map for the winning team, and I would argue that Chemtech Soul is better than Elder.
Dang.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you revive and like you die. Okay, you finally managed to kill an Aurelia. Too bad she's alive again. You have to kill her 2, maybe 3 or 4 times because she has Death Stance, Sterix, Ninja Tabi, and Guardian Angel.
Yeah.
And probably a shield bow.
Yeah.
You have to
God,
kill
that's
that thing
annoying.
4 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I that's I would take that over 15% max health true damage execute.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
pretty
don't like it.
bonkers.
I like the changes to Cloud Dragon. I think that was good. None of the other dragons changed, I think, but Hextech Dragon feels kind of mediocre, and Chemtech's just an abomination.
I have to agree with the Chemtech. I feel like the Chemtech map is honestly
Oh, I hate it.
it's like the most unbalanced thing ever. Have
I
you ever
hate it.
played in that? Like
Yeah.
I feel like I was talking at the beginning of this podcast. I play LeBlanc support. I get the Chemtech thing. I just sit in that thing. I just wait for people to come in.
Yeah.
You cannot react to a LeBlanc combo. I'm betting you can't react to like Z combos or other assassin
Yeah.
combos. It's you. If you're losing, you're never walking into the enemy's jungle ever again. If
Mhm.
you're winning, the enemy team is never walking into their own jungle ever again. It's the most unbalanced piece of crap ever.
It's just a win harder map. That's all.
It's so
Yeah.
bad. I kind of do not like the Hextech gates either. I feel like um, they create situations of like, especially when I feel like when you're ahead of too much safety and mobility. If you can get control of those, it feels like you can escape situations that you really should not be able to. And I was just it's probably far and few between, but I personally don't like these like hypermobility, like extremely game-changing maps. When Mountain is like the map changes a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with Fire, like they just
It
the
doesn't
map
really
kind of
do
changes
much.
like
Same with
landscape
all of them,
wise.
really.
Yeah.
The most
all
impactful
the
ones,
field
like you go
ones.
faster in the Cloud Dragon one, but like no one really cares because both sides go faster when you go.
Yeah, it's
I like the
fine.
cloud one. I just like moving fast.
It's
just
fine,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
It's just
fine.
a little
Like,
change.
Yeah.
The
You
other
lose
two
a
are
few
literally game
bushes in the
changing.
fire one, and then you know
Yeah.
you get some honey fruit in the ocean one. Like,
Yep.
how are we in the same universe as instant teleports across the map?
I
Which is
know.
even the most ridiculous thing, right?
Yeah.
The super stealth is like it's just really strange that how they just need to rework it or at least like fundamentally change it. It's not like you can't really tweak values on the map, right? I mean,
Mm-mm.
as far as I can tell, at least.
I mean,
Maybe
you
you
try
can.
and play Rengar in 1 in 6 chance, you don't get to play the game.
I know.
I just don't think it's.
That sucks.
I like
Ocean
adding
Soul
more
for
diversity to the
Rengar.
dragon pool in theory, but the rift itself is crazy. And then I don't want to get into the soul. The soul is also not fun,
Yeah.
but I do think soul should be impactful. It's just that they balanced the other 4 souls and then they added in a soul that just like isn't okay. So
Yeah,
I'm sure they will. It is preseason. They do make big changes
That's
and
true.
like let people. You know,
And that's what I was gonna
get
say.
used
Like
to it.
they've made big changes in the past, and we've always adjusted, right? We've always, even if we're complaining about it all the way, people eventually find, a way to play, the best way for that map, that scenario, that situation. So I think that's basically what it's going to be. We're going to have to get adjusted to these new dragons. Unfortunately, it's not so fun sometimes. What about some of the items? Do you guys, how do you guys feel about like? I know they nerfed some that were overtuned when they first released, but are you guys? I mean, to me, it doesn't really seem, except for the crown of the Verdant. I think that's the one. I think that's the only one where
Shatter Queen.
yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
one I really feel like has made a big impact because you can put it on a lot of these mages like Kassadin, or even I see Ezreal sometimes build it. Kaisa, yeah. So what do you guys think of the items?
I'm kind of the same way. Basically, you said crown is ungodly broken. I don't know why you wouldn't just change it to be like a lifeline item
Yeah.
instead of just low cooldown, hey, I don't take damage for 3 seconds,
Yeah.
or 1.5, or whatever it is. And especially with the rise of Ingenious Hunter, I've been playing a lot of Ezreal and Kai'Sa with Crown, and it's like, I got poked. Damn, guess I'm sitting back for 20 seconds, and now I can't be damaged again.
Yeah.
You also see champions like Victor,
Yep.
who just, they run the rift right now because they can
So
one-shot
broken.
you before you can even turn around and do anything to them.
Yep.
Yeah, super broken. Yeah. Crown is really broken. I think Shadow Flame
Oh yeah, Shadow Flame.
is a really good item, but a complete failure on its design philosophy. The
Yeah.
amount of times I've built Shadow Flame and dealt 0 bonus damage to shields in like 40+ minute games is hilarious.
Gosh.
It does a lot of damage because you get flat Magic Pen, right? And obviously Magic Pen, when you stack it with like a Ludens or a Rocket Bell and Sork Boots, you just do a ton of damage to squishies. And then, but I don't think I've ever done a single point of damage to a shield with that item.
Yeah.
I literally build it almost every game on stuff like Vlad and LeBlanc and Cassidon, and I don't think I've done any damage to shields once.
Yeah.
So that's a big bummer, and they need to change that. They need to fix that. They need to rework the item, or it's just gonna be a Magic Pen item. It's just gonna be old haunting guys. So that needs to be completely reworked.
All right. Any other things about the items or anything about the meta
Is
in
there
general?
another item released? I feel like those are like the two items that got made.
There was Evan Shroud, Thimble Winter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, the health tier item, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, to be honest.
That was pretty good. No, that's a good item. Yeah.
Honestly, it's been necessary for a while. Tanks have been for a long time, while the other roles already had mana items, so they didn't even need their tier ones.
Yeah, it's a
True.
pretty good item. Let me just say, it's a really good item on champs that are not tanks, which is a big bummer. Have you ever played it with? Have you ever played it with Cassidon? You just don't die. You do a ton of damage, and you never die.
Cassidon, Rise, Cassiopeia.
It's that item is gonna cause a lot of problems in the future. They need to change it somehow, but I promise you, tanks who build it are gonna be like, yeah, it's pretty good, and then champs who don't build it are gonna be like, wow, this is like the most broken thing I've ever played.
Yeah.
Because
what do you guys think of? Have you guys seen the Corki build with the hybrid?
Dude, I hate it so much.
It's so broken.
It's so broken.
My gosh,
It's just disgusting.
It is,
Yeah,
but there are people like Nemesis and other people who say that it's still trash. Like that the shield
lady
bow
phase is god awful.
Yeah, the lady phase got off, but Nemesis still swears by going shield bow, IE.
Also,
very
by
different.
not getting onto a team. I mean, I don't know.
There it is.
Yeah,
There it is.
There it
I was
is.
like,
That's what it is.
I just like he has a lot of talk for a guy who can't get onto a team. I don't know.
It's true. It's
He
true.
is a solo queue menace. Like, to be
He is,
fair,
and there are a lot of solo queue menaces out there.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest. The Corki build is pretty bad in solo queue.
He almost
'cause-
said it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I've played it. It is very bad in solo queue because you need like 2.5-3 items to actually do damage. Just
Yes.
once you get there, you can like 1v9 a game by
Yeah.
yourself.
Kind of quirky though in general.
That's true. It's true. But you do spike off a shield bow and essence reaver pretty hard, like off of those individual items. That's Corki.
Yeah.
Where you get Ludens or you get Ravenous Hydra or you finish Mermana on that Corki build, you're not really doing much. My
Yeah.
opinion.
That's
you
true.
Need all three.
I have played it a couple times, and you're right. When you get to that spike, it feels really good.
I
But
mean, I've scrimmed
anything
against
before
it.
that sucks. Oh,
It's
really?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, there's been a lot. We've played a bunch of scrim games ever since I got back, and like half the games have had quirky in them.
Yeah.
Just picked. That's not including bans.
Mm.
And every single time it's been the new AP build.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, even though you're not necessarily spiking as early, you're not really spiking that late either in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty easy to just be safe, honestly.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you
just,
could
like,
farm
yeah.
from far away. Yeah, you can farm
Like-
from far away. You got your package. You got your W.
Because the other thing
Not
is,
that bad.
right? in Genius Hunter, because especially
Yes.
since you take that reduces the cooldown on your tier, so you stack it that much faster.
Oh, I did not know that at all.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Genius
I didn't know it
Hunter
worked
is
on your tier. I know it
Yeah,
works
it
on
works
like
on it works
Ludens
on
and
tier, it works on Sheen.
That's
works
So
on
insane.
you
It
stack
works
it
on
so much
Ludens,
faster,
yeah.
so the tier like not having or like the tier taking or just stacking that much faster is such a big deal for
Wow.
and a spike that's barely
Yeah.
even later at all is
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Yeah, I definitely like it.
I am a
will-
big fan of new Archangels, by the way. I know we
Yeah.
didn't mention it, but the old Archangels I felt was almost pointless. The new one has ability haste. It heals you when you cast spells, and it's just a more comfortable build.
Wait, it heals you when you cast spells? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
new
like
to me.
Roa now. It just
Yeah.
costs based on the mana cost. It can heal you up to like 80 health or something.
Alright, I gotta look
So-
this up. What? I've
Yeah.
been I've been playing
I
it.
haven't seen it because
It has
every
zero
mage who's
cooldown, too,
who's
between
gonna
the
build
heals,
Archangels
so-
has just built Fimbulwinter. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play a lot of ARAM. I'm
I
the
know.
ARAM king here.
Dude,
so-
I've been
Heals
playing a
are
lot of ARAM too, man. ARAM is
heals now.
Yeah,
so
it's
fun.
great. I'm a big fan. I know Thimblewinter is good, but I just
I-
like, on certain characters.
I've
it
been
just
playing
feels
so
off.
much Kassadin. I've built that item like at least half the time. If I'm not building Fimbulwinter, I didn't even know.
That's funny.
Are they doing crown into Archangels or crown into the Fimbulwinter on
That's
Kassadin?
hilarious.
It's extra
all the
credit,
time.
You're just getting health and you don't even notice.
I just
Didn't
thought it
even
got
know.
cheaper. I was like, sweet, nice, cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is something I've been waiting to talk about because honestly, we just found out today. Diana got buffed.
Oh yes.
Yeah, she is 100% guaranteed going to dominate the crap out of solo queue. I think she's
closer.
yeah, she's coming back in strong for Pro too, but solo queue is gonna be so sad right now. Oh my goodness, they nerfed Shield Bow and Wit's End in the same patch they buffed Diana. Think of every bruiser out there: Xin Zhao, Lee Sin,
Yep.
Yone, or whatever. All these people who want to be able to beat a weak and under golded farmed Diana. No more. Those items got nerfed. That champion got buffed to ridiculous proportions. It's gonna be a 2 jungler patch. Talon, Diana, every single solo queue game you can imagine.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
your Lee Sin Graves one tricks, whatever. But like, oh my god, I can't believe they buffed her like that. It's so broken
I mean,
and
to
stupid.
put this in perspective, this is straight up just a revert, putting her to this is just right back to her original dominance.
yeah,
These were the buffs they gave her initially when they buffed her for jungle, and she was broken and ruining the game for a couple months.
She was broken with pre-reworked Gore Drinker. Gore Drinker has since been reworked to a much worse state, right? You don't have the healing passive. Instead, you have Omnivamp instead of the bonus missing health damage. Like, Lee Sin got nerfed, Xin Zhao got nerfed, Graves got nerfed, right? The items we talked about got nerfed. Diana and Talon should be like the only 2 junglers that are like top tier in this patch, I think.
Maybe Kiana.
Maybe Kiana. Well,
Actually, Kiana did get nerfed pretty hard. But here's the other thing about Diana. You know what else Diana has? Crown and Shadow Flame.
oh yeah.
That's true.
She's
items,
gonna build
too.
crown, yeah.
Are there
I've already
any?
been seeing it.
Are there
Yeah.
any other junglers that you think are indirectly buffed? I mean, Diana directly got buffed, but do you think that because of all the nerfs of the other items and styles of junglers, do you think there are any junglers that will pop up because of that?
It's hard to say for pro play. I know for Blue Cane is still busted beyond all reason in solo queue, but I don't think that's gonna come out in pro play.
That's always been a
otherwise-
hard one to come out in pro, like a lot.
I mean,
as,
Viego.
like, standard.
Viego.
Viego.
Viego is like pretty whatever. I mean, Viego is, I feel like, in my opinion, very team dependent. I've almost never see Viego's winning 1v1s unless he's fed already. Whereas Diana, right? She's gonna 1v1 you with 0 items.
Yeah.
She's gonna kill your ass.
Yeah.
I will
Viego,
also say, at
yeah.
Demacia Cup, there was hard prio on Lee Sin Zinza as well.
Yeah, that's what
Which-
was. Yeah,
That's
Might
always
change
the case there.
because Diana. I don't know what else beats Diana. Maybe we'll see a return of Rumble.
no Rumble's.
Not-
Yeah, probably not.
Rumble has a really bad matchup with Shattered.
Yeah.
That's fair.
He comes
Yeah,
in with like
that's-
half his burst doing nothing, and then he starts damaging.
I don't know. It's Diana. I don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
it's
what to do.
Diana.
I
I
just
think-
die.
I think like it's gonna be like Diana and Talon. I don't know Talon how much pro players are gonna invest in it, but for sure for solo queue, those are the two best junglers. And
Yeah.
then yeah, Lee Sin, Graves, and Xin Zhao are like right under there. Also Lilia is quite good, but I don't actually know how good she is because the only time I see Lilia in solo queue is when it's very clearly that person is like an insanely good Lilia one trick.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much that goes into pro play. But I think it's just going to be the Diana show. It's going to be like Diana banned every game.
Nice.
And if
Okay.
it's not, I'm going to be very surprised. Like super surprised if that's not the case.
All right. Anything else on the patch meta stuff? Ranks about to start, so that means time to get my hopes up. Think I'm gonna get high and then just end up right back in silver and gold.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Vayne, Alistair? Vayne's pretty broken from what I understand.
She's really broken, but she's really bad at the same time.
Interesting.
Vayne's in the same kind of spot. I feel like Teemo and Draven, where individually the champion's really strong, but at the same time they're kind of hard to fit in. Solo queue is different, but I don't think we're gonna see that much Vayne in pro play because she's too easy to abuse. Especially because my prediction is we're gonna see a bot lane centric meta now with the teleport changes. And on top of Caitlyn was priority.
I thought it was gonna be
Demacia
Caitlyn.
Cup.
Caitlyn is stupid strong.
There's Jinx. Probably gonna see some more Jhin. Maybe Varus after his buffs. I think we're gonna see Ezreal. I think we're gonna see Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely gonna see a bot centric meta, and Vayne not that.
Interesting. Interesting. What do you think? I feel like support metas can be very enchanter focused. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but
Unfortunately, I would tend to agree with you. My only hesitation is where else are we getting the tank? Because traditionally, for the last couple of years at least, it's been support tank because they need a beef ball somewhere. Top laners aren't playing straight up tanks. They're playing Aurelia. They're playing Camille.
Yeah.
Who still didn't get nerfed, by the way.
Yeah, Camille's broken. Yep.
And I would guess we're probably still going to see Bruiser's top lane, which would likely mean we're going to see tanks in the support as well.
I think that like pro play always tends to go tanks in support traditionally, but I feel like every single solo queue game I've played, like right before the season ended and as the season ended, has been an enchanter support. I've played either LeBlanc or Karma or Lulu or Yumi, like almost every single game I play support, and I'm playing against basically the same stuff with like maybe a Janna or a Seraphine or something.
Yeah,
So
that's solo queue though, because you have to remember without the teleport changes, and if it's going to be a bot centric meta, chances are there's still going to be opportunities to dive, which also kind of requires a tank.
But have you ever seen like freaking a Bruiser, Camille, and Aurelia, and then a Vlad mid just run at you with like karma shields on them? Like that is
yeah, I have. I've been on the receiving end of that more times than I can count.
That's like it's so disgusting.
But that's not early. That's the thing.
Yeah, it is later. It doesn't come on till later, but when it does come on, I promise you like that will be stronger than whenever engaged tanks go. So I wonder if it's going to be like some people are going to be on the enchanter train, other people are going to be on the old sort of tank train. I don't know. I've been seeing CoreJJ play a lot of enchanters in solo queue, so
I think it's strong. I don't think it's going to be. I think there's going to be a split though. I think we're going to see both. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I will say my bold prediction is there's going to be Seraphine mid lane.
Oh, interesting. Seraphine.
I was expecting Jinx 100%, by the way. Anyways.
I already said Jinx.
Yeah.
Oh, I
just you
always say Jinx in every podcast.
Yeah,
because Jinx has been broken for over a year. People only picked up on after they buffed her another 4 times for some reason.
Sure.
Yeah, my bold prediction is
you'll be right eventually, or she'll be deleted. So one of you.
Yeah.
But she was already in Arcane, so probably not being deleted anytime soon.
Dude,
no.
Jinx, I swear to God, Jinx, Karma, Vayne Karma, Kate Karma, these lanes are so unbelievably broken. They're so busted. I'd be so surprised. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we saw all 10 LCS teams going full tanks every game in support position because of it feels like Shirelia's is still incredibly powerful and overtuned and yeah. I just don't. That like the locket is whatever, and that new support item that gives you damage increase, it got nerfed 2 days into existence or something like that, and it's just never been seen again. I feel like it's just such a mediocre support item now. Build Shurelya's every game, guys. Go
I
hard,
feel like
go
Shirley
fast.
is only good just because it makes your bruisers run at people faster because bruisers don't have
It's
counterplay. It's like
it's so
Sivir It's
broken.
like Sivir Ult's a terrible ultimate, but Olaf go fast.
All of a
Run
sudden you
everybody
make
It's good in
down.
the context of a team. It's good in a team game. That's
There
just
you
how
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Aurelia can just I don't know teleport to your base and murder you on your fountain with how fast she
God,
moves.
I hate that
Well,
champion.
not really because they took
Yeah.
away 5 base movement speed from her. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Hey, they
She
took
did-
away
she did get
5
nerfed pretty
AD,
hard.
5 AD and 150 shields on Immortal Shield Bow. That's a big deal for like Immortal Shield Bow 1v1s. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna die faster, but otherwise it's not gonna do anything.
I mean, I feel personally that stat nerfs like that aren't as relevant as they used to be. I'm talking specifically about the 5 AD. The
Yeah.
shield obviously is more important, but I feel like since Riot has transitioned to the game to you're not buying an item with good stats and then the passive is a bonus, you're buying an item for the passive / active, and then the stats are a bonus. Because you look at an item, like, again, I'll always go back to this one. You compare Phantom Dancer to Mortal Reminder, they basically have the same stats, but they have 2 different passives. They're the same item with different passive. And Shield Bow, losing the 5 AD doesn't feels like it won't really matter.
I agree 100%. It's gonna matter very very little to Yone and Yasuo and Aurelia and Tryndamere and all these people who build it. I feel like it's also not gonna matter to ADCs because they still get one shot through their shield anyways. So it's a very it feels like even though it was a lot of numbers that changed in the item, it's not gonna do much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the item needs to be addressed because it is really good, but I don't know how you address it.
I don't know.
Because it's one of the few items that has a direct counter implemented in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. If only Shadow Flame actually works, yeah.
Shadow.
Well, there's still Serpent Fang.
Yeah, there's still Serpents, there's still Ezex and stuff, and like Grievous Spoons, but the item was honestly very, very powerful, and it felt like it was almost it started to just be bought in every ADC. Like you would go from this world where it was like you almost never saw Shield Bow on anybody except Vayne, maybe Jinx, maybe 1 or 2 other people. Now you see it on every
Graves.
ADC. Yeah, Graves. You see it on every ADC except a few, right? Like I've been seeing it on Kai'Sa now, and I've been seeing it on like other random ADCs just building it instead of Kraken or Gale Force like they should. It's been very weird.
I mean, a lot of the time it's just because like I mean I've been feeling this a lot recently because in the solo queue you get all these like Lux or Xerath or Brand players. They get a lost chapter in Sork Shoes and you literally just lose half your health to one spell. It's like
You gotta
you
sustain.
get one shot in lane and you don't because of the bloodline nerfs you just build you need sustain for lane.
Yeah.
You can't take Ravenous Hunter because it's pretty bad now. You don't take Bloodline. You don't take Triumph. Fleet is not very good on 80 carries. A lot of games you don't really go Biscuit because you don't go Inspiration as much. So it doubles as just you buy a Vamp Scepter early and you can actually do something in lane and without being poked out. And a lot of the time it's just like you kind of get one shot if you have anything else. I mean, you can maybe avoid some with Gale Force, but there's also just so much point and click.
Yeah, I actually think the way to nerf Shield Bow is to nerf Vamp Scepter. Increase the cost of it because it feels like, I don't know about ADCs, but for top laners, right? Or even for AD mid laners who build it, like Yon and Yasuo, getting a Vamp Scepter before your opponent, or earlier, or anything of that matter, is like lane winning. Like, as soon as I am playing like Yon, and I had a really rough early game, but I'm able to base with 900 gold, and I got a Vamp Scepter, laning phase is a breeze. It's a joke. I do not care what happens to me. As long as I don't actually literally die, I will be fine in lane. I will CS. I will outtrade. I will outpush. I will outlive. I have no mana cost. Like I feel like Vamp Scepter is honestly such a big problem for so many bruisers and like top and mid laners right now. It's pretty disgusting. Yeah.
Sweet. All right, let's move on to the teams themselves, and all the rosters are finalized. So now it's time for us to kind of take a look, see how they're gonna do first in the lock-in tournament, because this is the first glimpse we're gonna see. So, how do you guys think the teams will fare in that tournament, and then how do you think the teams will end up by the end of the spring split? After when it's all said and done, who's winning the whole thing? For Spring Split and who's coming in dead last, because I think some of that may change over the course of time. But overall impressions for this tournament, who do you guys have as winning the whole thing?
All right, hot take: 100 Thieves.
Yeah,
Not bad.
I think I could see that. I mean, they didn't really make any moves other than Tenacity, I think, and Someday. Up there, I don't know. Are they like sharing time or whatever? But either way, the most, not many changes. They were good last year. They should still be good now with very little adjustments. Yeah.
Diana, and probably I still think Viego is. I mean, Viego just as a champion is conceptually broken. Yeah. That champ's always gonna have a place in the meta. I feel like.
Yeah, you still got Lee Sin and Xin Zhao, which
that's true.
Poster played a lot too.
Yeah, I think other teams are still going to have a bit of a feeling out process. Liquid would be the obvious answer, but they're probably still going to have some growing pains, I would imagine. Yeah. I think we're going to have 100 Thieves and Liquid in the finals. That's my prediction, but I think 100 Thieves is going to take it.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm still thinking on mine.
I'm gonna go Liquid. I think that it's probably gonna be Liquid 100 Thieves in the finals, and I think that 100 Thieves is probably gonna look better than Liquid the entire tournament, and then Liquid will clutch it out in the end. I just it feels so wrong for me to bet against Team Liquid. Looking at their roster, I just can't do it. I can't do it.
But I think this is what you did when Perks came in,
and then they won lock-in. Cloud9 won oh no, they lost lock-in, but then they won. They got into finals and lock-in in a 5-game series, right? They didn't win lock-in. Okay, that was my bad. But they got 5 games. They almost won it. Then they won the next split, right? I don't know. Wasn't that far off? Yeah. No, I'm going Team Liquid. That you can't change my mind.
I'm with you on this Team Liquid thing. I don't know if it's just because I'm now a fan because of Bjergsen. Over there, but I'm really saying, I think Team Liquid's looking pretty good. Look, for my sake and all the other older guys out there, I'm for my sake hoping that the old team wins. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting that the Team Liquid experiment is successful. So I'm going Team Liquid.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, it's very clearly Team Liquid.
There it is.
They're just better in every way, except for at this point, I would say mid jungle. But Bwipo is so much better than Someday. And Tenacity if Tenacity gets subbed in because it's lock-in. It's not going to be that close. I think Bwipo, where he lacks in the lane dominance comparatively to Alphari, he absorbs pressure way better, and he plays with the team a lot better. And so I think that will give Santorin a lot more to work with, because they were trying to play toward Alphari, but Alphari was also super gankable, right? So if he died, then what was the game plan? It was like playing RNG with Xiaohu, except if Xiaohu didn't have a minimap. So in that sense, I think the Liquid shoring up ADC weaknesses and then top lane consistency weaknesses means that they're going to destroy, at least in the beginning, before teams are adjusted to them, and it's not going to be close. I think Bjergsen's probably going to be the most average performer in terms of what you would expect. So when he's your average, he's like your worst performer in my mind. That's Liquid's going to destroy this tournament. They might not destroy the spring split, but it's not going to be close. I think it's going to be like 3-0, 3-1.
I think it would have been questionable if we weren't sure if Core JJ was going to get his green card.
Core wasn't here. Different story.
Yeah. So
no, he'll be here. I actually have a sort of a different take. I think that Team Liquid is probably going to have a rocky start, and they're going to level up as the tournament progresses. Like if you had a best of 5 against 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid right at the beginning of the tournament versus the end of the tournament, it would have very different results. And that I think that Team Liquid, as they struggle throughout the tournament, they will level up. They will get a hold of things in a competitive pro environment, and they'll come out as the best at the end of the tournament. But I'm
Okay.
expecting a rocky start for them. I really am. I don't think they're gonna come out guns blazing or anything.
I don't know, man. I feel like these guys know what it takes to win, and I'm thinking they're in a freaking secret basement right now, grinding and like playing and running scenarios and all sorts of simulations. And Core JJ and Bjergsen and Whippo are tanking some stuff.
And then Whippo, he just locks in Rengar top, and
Rengar top, you're like, what's going on? And then they
He's
get
like, screw this, I'm locking in Rengar top. I hate this team.
And then it's Chem Tank Dragon with Rengar top. All right, so who do you then think number 2 is going to be? Alistair, I think you already said Team Liquid would be your number 2. But for the rest of us...
I do think it's going to be 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves?
I
Okay.
think 100 Thieves is a very, very likely number 2.
Yeah,
very safe guess, and it makes sense. It should be 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
They didn't downgrade, and they have more time to get better together. Like, I don't think any other team has stuck together exactly the same.
No, they have.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, none of the other.
No,
it's not this year.
Yeah,
no,
this year. Not in history, but like.
No,
this
it was like
year,
in history. They definitely has.
Yeah, there's definitely been teams. You know?
Yeah.
But so that is, strangely enough, that's an underrated thing nowadays. I guess sticking together and just getting better together is definitely a thing. You know, Daewon almost did it.
Sounds like the
they
NBA,
lost
man.
A player, but...
Yeah, I mean,
All
the only
major
team that really
sports.
did that was like what G2, and like
Yeah, G2 did it 2 years in a row. TSM did it 2 years in a row.
Oh, Team Liquid also did too.
Team
No,
Liquid.
they didn't. Team Liquid did
Team
not do
Liquid
it.
did not. Team Liquid changed every year at least one player.
Yeah,
and it's
but-
usually usually like well now they're the best team.
It's usually it's usually 2 players actually every year. Yeah.
You gotta give Liquid credit, regardless of if it's right or not. They make the ballsy moves, and they aren't afraid to try to become better.
I mean, it works out pretty well every time.
More times than it doesn't, right? Which is not easy to do.
I would argue ever since Doublelift came over, it has worked out every time.
Well, I would argue that
they made it to Worlds.
After Doublelift left, though, that we haven't won a split.
Yeah.
We've done really well, but we haven't won, right? So
you haven't won, but you're making second or worse or better.
Yeah, you're in the finals, so it's not
You're
bad.
in the finals and you're making it to Worlds every year. I mean, that's pretty good considering the alternative, right? So I don't know. I think Team Liquid.
True.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think Team Liquid is honestly they should win every split this year, right? But like them not winning every split, but still in finals, making it to Worlds every year. I mean, if I'm Steve and I'm going to my investors, I'm still pretty happy. I feel like it's a success every year. The money's been well spent. Obviously, you could do better, but they
plus again, ton of fan hype still. You know what I mean? So you got fan hype. That's bringing in dollars. That's bottom line. If it's making money or they're staying in the black, then that's a good thing. So what about number 3? I'm gonna kick it off because I think C9 is gonna be 3rd.
What is this? Lock in or end of spring?
Lock in.
Lock in.
Yeah, I'm going C9.
I'm gonna go EG for 3rd.
Yeah, I'm EG as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go EG for 3rd. I think they're gonna come out stronger than C9.
I'm gonna go C9 personally. I think that the Korean players are just really good players.
Me too. That's what I'm banking on.
Unfortunately, like it's either them or TSM comes in with their Chinese players, and we're just gonna be like, our really well-known players are just worse.
Yeah.
Crap.
LCS
and I think it's gonna be
Worlds.
one or the other of them. That's the thing that scares me, man. Like, Vulcan's a great player. He's one of NA's best, and I think he can compete on the world stage. But who knows, dude? Like Shenny might just come in and just smurf on him, and I'm like, well. Sucks. NA talent just took a hit again. We're gonna be importing for years, forever.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I just think that it's either C9 or TSM will just randomly beat up our native talents. There is this JoJo Pyun guy who's getting a lot of hype, but I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't think I'm as hype on the
Inspired
EG.
is crazy though.
Yeah, Inspired is for sure, but
Inspired is nuts.
I don't know if I'm on this hype train though, man.
But my last memory of him was Worlds, and that just didn't look inspired.
I mean, he played Fiddlesticks and they beat FPX. Okay, it's FPX. I don't know. They played pretty well. They were in a 70-minute game with Cloud9 to get the tiebreaker.
No one came out of that looking good except for Daewon in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
They did beat FPX.
They beat FPX. They were the closest to beating Donmon in that group too. with the fiddlesticks and the Lucian. They were
Okay,
so
actually,
close
that
to
is
beating.
true.
They were
That is
so
true.
close to beating Don Juan. Oh
Yeah, he'll
my
be so
goodness.
close to being like everyone else at this tournament, but I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't know. I
I'm a
don't
big
have a lot of
expired fan.
faith.
That guy's nuts. As a jungler, that guy's nuts.
All
That
right.
guy's
I
His
good.
mean,
mid
I think
laner
I
is a
think
big
valid.
question mark.
I think it's
That's
valid.
true.
I am not completely sold on it yet, but I mean I could be wrong. That's just my gut feeling.
Fair.
All right. So who do you guys have for fourth then?
I mean, it's
C9.
C9 for y'all.
C9.
I
Or sorry,
I'm
not C9. That's
I'm-
EG then.
I'm
Yeah.
putting
Okay.
TSM over here. That's right.
Oh,
I said it.
C9 is fifth for you.
I think it's fair.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
it's fair.
I'm
They
putting
got Spica still.
yeah I'm putting TSM, and then my number
Alright.
fifth will be EG. So who are your guys
I
fifth?
see TSM with Huni. I just can't. I don't know. I don't care.
He was still fine
I
last year.
personally
That's
put Immortals
fine.
over TSM.
Oh
I don't-
dang!
Dude,
I
I don't
Alright.
care.
Immortals over TSM.
So
I-
wait, so are you putting Immortal? What are you putting at 5 then, Alistair? Is that Immortals for you?
Yeah.
5 is
that's-
Immortals, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Let me see.
Honestly,
Revenge,
I look at Huni. It doesn't matter how well he plays weak side all year long in 2021. I just can't, man. I
I've been
can't.
still
with you.
Hootie.
I've been on that train for over a year, Mitchell. I know
You have.
exactly what you're talking
I can't even
about.
look
You
at
have.
his name without laughing.
Well, he played okay.
Every
Oh my
time
God.
every time I think of Hooney, I just think of that failed backdoor attempt when he played Riven.
Oh
yeah.
God! Every time I think of Hootie, I think of him playing top lane Lucian and TPing, dashing in and immediately dying and losing like his entire team the game, all the playoffs.
That's
First
fair.
place.
Every time I think of perks now, I think of that LeBlanc suicide. So
Oh
Hey,
my
they won,
god.
They won the game, so you know what?
did winning the game grant meme value?
It's great.
True. That
Okay,
is.
fair.
It's-
So
every
two for-
time I think of perks, I think
two
of
for
a
one.
Flash empowered stunning award on Renekton.
That was a good one.
That one's legendary. That one goes in the history.
That was
if
so
he
good.
makes it to the Hall of Fame, which I still think he deserves, for his
He
history,
should.
that should be like one of his clips. Like it's just a bunch of highlights and then that just thrown in there.
Like back to back, him distorting back on LeBlanc and then flash stunning a war. It's too
That's-
good.
oh
It's
my
too
goodness.
good. Love
But
it.
anyways, I put fourth place at EG, and then at fifth place, it was between Golden Guardians and TSM. Actually, I
Oh,
think that
wow.
Golden Guardians was doing pretty well toward the end. Blaze Olive was looking great. Like, was he top 4, top 3? He even made All Pro, and now he has a good team. Like Price Soccer was historically he was pretty decent a long time ago, and then they have Licorice, Lost, and Ole. I think that's a good roster. But
Ole coming
I'll probably
back,
give
huh?
TSM the credit because they have 2 Chinese players and Spica's still good, and I still think Tactical is good. I just don't think he wasn't the player for the team. There's too much pressure on him to perform, and I think that's what made him inconsistent.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Tactical will definitely do better on this TSM roster than Team Liquid. I gotta agree with Alistair though. Mine is Immortals than TSM. I think
Okay.
Immortals. I mean, Revenge Xerxes was already looking to be a pretty powerful top jungle duo. Obviously, they floundered a lot. It felt like in the middle of the season, in both spring and summer, kind of didn't know what they do. But they started each split strong. They ended each split pretty strong. They upgraded with Wild Turtle, PoE.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're bringing back the FlyQuest duo, PoE Wild Turtle. While they're gonna be pretty whatever in laning phase, they are going to dish out the big damages in the late game. I mean, like Immortals, if they can have Revenge or say Destiny control the early game, either get ahead or stay even or whatever, they're gonna be a top 5 team in my opinion. Where it's just like Wild Turtle and Power Eagle will be able to hard carry every game, where they're just better than their opponents. So I do think it's going to be Immortals over TSM in that area. Yeah.
Okay. So for my 6, I have Immortals. Alistair, what's your 6?
My 6 would be TSM.
Yes. All right. And then what's yours, Kevin?
Yeah, mine in that case, I would put Golden Guardians.
Oh, okay. So you're putting
Yeah, 'cause
Immortals even lower.
I think that they might be doing better. I think Price Sucker is a good player that just hasn't been on a team for a while. When I watched him a long time ago, I remember him being really good. Now I have no idea why he hasn't been on a team for a while, so I could just be really bad on this one. But Ole also made top 10 challenger in Korea, so like I think there's some like
He's been
weird
pretty
talent
committed
that
too.
hasn't been
Yeah.
touched on in a while. Like
Did you guys read his tweet longer?
I didn't.
I read a decent amount of it. I didn't
Yeah.
finish it though.
It's
But-
pretty inspiring. He tried to be like a programmer or a coder. He was learning like some language, and he did it for like a year, and he was like, no, this isn't it. I'm gonna go back to playing League, and
Nice.
he's like,
Yeah,
if I don't get top 10 challenger, I'm giving up forever, and if I do, I'm going back to pro, and he did it.
Nice.
So,
That's
pretty
a
hype
good
story.
good redemption story.
Yeah.
I like it.
Pretty hype. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that like he was a good player on Liquid when he wasn't having mental like conflict, and
He
Yeah,
was.
he
He was
get
like,
that together.
yeah, wasn't he like?
It was good.
He was pretty high in solo queue too, wasn't he, for a bit?
He's always been good. It's just his nerves has been his biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like how skilled he is. It feels like it's just
Liquid won at least 2 trophies with him, if not
Yeah.
4. No, they won 2 with him and
They
2
won
with Core,
2.
I think.
yeah. They won 2 with him, and it wasn't even close those years. Both finals were 3-0s.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Double was very good, but like Ole did carry his weight in domestic. So like again, that
Ole's
that
always
roster
been
has
good.
Yeah.
firepower. It just
Yeah.
depends on if they are good together. So I think they're better than
Okay. So then I'm assuming, would you have Immortals under GG then, Kevin?
Yep, right
Okay,
under.
so Immortals. I'm actually this is where I'm putting Golden Guardians, is in 7th, right under Immortals.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same, and then you can just autofill the rest. I just don't care.
Yeah, I know, right?
I would give a like a
I don't
super
know.
honorable mention to
I
CLG.
think-
They
I
actually
think-
made good moves on their team.
I don't know, man. Dignitas.
Yeah, they got River.
No way,
That's cool.
you're actually putting they have blue
They-
on their team.
I'm
They
not,
got
saying,
Ri-
I'm not saying I'm putting them 7th or anything, but I don't think.
I'm putting.
They got
last.
River. That's
They got-
dope.
Hey,
right?
Biofrost is
PSG?
coming back.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm glad
Yeah,
he's coming back, and River was decent, but Blue was the worst player in his league, and he got picked up. He wasn't even in. Was he even?
Hey, man, we picked up Finn. So.
Yes,
Yeah.
again, and they got 10th. So,
That's true. But I mean, you have to
Oh,
remember, Kevin.
God.
CLG is still in the league.
Yeah, they are.
That's true. I don't know.
There's no relegation. That's the only reason.
I know.
CLG, they bought in so hard onto the community sentiment. They're like, everybody's flaming them for buying these middle tier, whatever, sort of good, sort of not bad known quantities, and they just bought like 5 rookies, man. Like,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
they didn't. They bought
They're not-
Okay, so Jenkins is a rookie, but Contracts and Palafox
okay,
are not.
they're not rookies, but like they're definitely like the more greener players to
not
exist out there.
contracts, no.
Like
Contracts
not
been
contract,
around.
but like,
around since like old.
yeah,
C9.
but
Come on.
contracts
Yeah.
is like
Palafox,
he's-
Luger, Jenkins, and Poom, yeah.
Contracts is their oldest player, but when you think about Contracts, do you think this guy's a veteran? No, you think that this guy's been living in an
fair.
academy for the past couple years, right? Like they picked up the academy squad. They really did. Like
Yeah.
But they picked up a good academy, so Contracts was very good. Even last split, he was very good. Palafox was pretty good at times. Last split.
Yeah.
Jenkins actually did better than Alfari in terms of a lot of stats.
pretty
Not, of
good.
course,
Where are you ranking him, Kevin? Because we're
Yeah,
down
where you-
from
I-
8, 9, and 10. So how good?
Yeah,
is
where-
he?
are you
have
putting
him
CLG?
I have him at 8th or 7th. I forgot if I put someone for 7th yet.
You
but-
put Immortals for 7th.
Yeah, then I have him at 8th. I actually. Yeah.
Okay, so
That's why I said
CLG.
the honorable mention, because the other 2 I put lower.
Well,
good,
let's
right?
catch up with Alistair and Mitchell. Who are your guys'
Almost
7th?
playoffs.
That's
Who
true,
do,
it is
who
almost
do I still have
playoffs.
to place?
You still have
Fly,
Golden
Dig.
Guardians, Fly, Dig, CLG, and Golden Guardians.
Okay, well, I'll put Golden Guardians 7th. I'm
Alright.
torn between Golden Guardians and TSM. They're kind of like fighting for 6th, in my opinion.
We don't need to
Okay.
put too much time thinking about these guys. Either.
Nah.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
CLG made good moves this time instead of what they did last
I
time.
mean, we may as well just go like 8, 9, 10 straight back, like back to back to back.
Well,
Yeah,
Mitchell,
yeah.
give me your 7th. Let me
Yeah.
get Mitchell's 7th first.
My 7 was Golden Guardians too. Yeah.
Golden Guardians. All right,
Yeah.
I want to do it this way then. Who's the worst team? Who's coming in
CLG.
dead last?
Yeah,
That's who I
think
have.
CLG.
I have
It's
CLG. Okay.
I think it's CLG.
And who's
Like,
your
if CLG
10th?
can't manage 5 veterans, I don't think they can manage 5 people who
That
are.
they're not
fairly-
managing anything. The only way CLG doesn't make 10th is if the players themselves clutch it out. It's
Yeah.
not going to be the org by any means who's
Well,
like.
that's what I mean. They had 5 good players
Yeah.
and couldn't do that. I don't think there's any way they're gonna do that with 5
No,
new
it's gonna
or
be up to the
semi-new.
it's gonna be up to the players to exceed their own expectations
Yeah.
and be like, screw this, we're just gonna win on our own. We don't need
I don't.
coaches. or
We're not gonna
management."
see another Broxa Vi or anything like that, where they just
Yeah.
clutch out a bunch of wins. It's
Yeah,
not
like
gonna
6
happen.
games in a row.
CLG's getting
No.
10th.
I'm
it-
putting FlyQuest at 10th, and I'm not
Really?
super excited about them.
I'm putting them
I
in
mean,
8th.
Jose Diallo looked like he gave up on playing League of Legends for all of last year. Okay, I watched
fair.
this guy
That's
literally
fair.
did not autopilot
true.
a whole year, and he's still on a roster as a starter. Okay. Kumo has never been impressive to me. I don't know who Tokui is, and then Johnson Afram was actually pretty good, but like that's it. You have 2 people on your team. That's it. I would rather get Contracts Pal Fox Jenkins.
I think
over
if they have Johnson Aframu, Jose Diodo, I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice to wake up to some teammates, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't all last year. You don't know. Jose Diodo was pretty freaking nuts when he got here, and he was pretty freaking nuts before he got here. It felt like he took an extended vacation. I'm still waiting for him to show up. I've always had high hopes for him.
I
He's-
agree.
he's-
I mean,
put him
I
literally
was the
lower
guy
than
on
every
behind
jungler on
FlyQuest.
this list, by the way. He might sound good until
Wait,
you
let me look
literally
at that
read out
really
every
quick.
jungler on the list. Okay, Closer's better, Blabber's better,
Yep,
River is
yep.
better. Just look at his international history at least.
I think River is better.
Inspire's
Yep.
better. I
Yep.
don't know. I don't think Price Sucker would be better if you just look at recent.
Not
Then maybe
necessarily
Xerxes, Center, and
I-
Spica. So he's like 10th, 9th,
Or 8th. Yeah, that's what
which is
we're
where
ranking
he's
him.
putting him. But I'm putting him as like probably 9th.
I think he's better than Contracts, and I think I don't know anything about Pride Soccer, so.
I think Contracts played so much better than him last year that like
He
if you don't
did.
count his first 2 weeks.
He did,
then
but he also
yeah.
had a much better team.
He had a much better team, and also I've always thought that Jose Diodo's had a great peak. Ever since I saw him at Worlds, like twice, I've always thought that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had a great
It's just
peak. I'm not
yeah.
denying that. I'm just saying that the man
No,
doesn't have
he's
the
got
work
like a
ethic. to
Yeah,
play
he's
with
got a
his
higher
team.
peak. We're freaking we're like arguing over like 7th, 8th.
Hey,
like
man.
I'll give you a quarter if you
Someone's
give
got to
me.
argue for them.
2
No one else is
dimes.
going to talk about them.
I mean, if you want me to be completely honest, I think there's a bigger gap between 8 and 10 than there is between 1 and 4. So
Ooh, yeah.
Nah,
Could
that's
be.
not true. Between
Rip
2 and
Silgy.
4. Come on now. Liquid is way bigger of a gap between Liquid and TSM. Did we have 4th or whoever we put 4th?
I put TSM
C9.
like 5th.
I have TSM at 4th.
I have TSM at 6th. So,
So
Anyways, we have
Alright.
our last places on the field.
well, so
Yeah,
FlyQuest and
still G.
Dignitas, who's better in your opinion, Alistair,
really don't care.
Alistair and Mitchell? Just so that I can have this in the book, so that when we look at it,
Yeah.
we need the record keeping. We need the proof.
God, I don't know either of these mid laners.
Yeah,
I
me neither.
mean,
Blue
I
was on
would-
SK for a long
Should I just
time,
flip
and
the
he was
coin because
13th.
it's not that big of a deal?
I will. I think I'll
Watch.
say Dig is 8th.
Watch it be like separates us 1 point, and this was the
Yep.
decision.
I really
thought
want to
about
put
it a little
FlyQuest in
bit.
8th, but I just.
I'm putting Fly 8th.
Okay,
I'm
that's
putting
what I
Fly
had
8th, and that is only because I don't know. Johnson Aframu was freaking nuts when they were together
Yeah,
last
they
time.
were.
I agree.
that's-
I mean, at the
that's-
same
that's all I
time, I've
got.
been burned once by FlyQuest. I got burned
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, I was the only FlyQuest when they made it to Worlds and Finals. You know what? A little bit.
Well, I
a
was the
little
only
bit
one who
of-
had FlyQuest in top 5, and I mean, I was wrong, but you
You
know.
were wrong. But you picked the wrong year to be a FlyQuest fan. It's every other year, buddy. Even years only.
Well, I always never supported FlyQuest, so
That's fair.
there it is.
I was their one fan when they made it to finals back to back and made it to Worlds and beat Top Esports. I was their only fan in the entire North America.
There you go.
Let's go.
The one fan, he's right here. He's right. It wasn't even for
Then
Tree
you gave up on
Quest.
them the year after.
Gave up immediately. I saw they signed Licorice and I'm like, I'm out. Sorry,
Yeah.
gotta go.
It's a true fan right there.
Yeah, so for me, my 8th is, I already said it, I said CLG. My 9th would be probably...
It would have to be Dig because you said FlyQuest was
Yeah,
your
it's Dig and then
10th
FlyQuest.
place.
I was
Yeah.
making sure I was consistent, so I said I'm
Yeah.
like,
Okay,
that's
hell
what
yeah.
Well, okay, so here's the question then. From this ranking that you guys made, is there anything you would change, like, at the end of the split? Or is this ranking here what you would think would end up happening at the end of the split? Or does somebody in this, list of teams, does one of them get better or one of them get worse?
I definitely think EG could get worse. I think EG could get worse over time. I think a team like Immortals could get better, and I think a team like C9 could get better. So we're looking at like C9 overcoming 100 Thieves maybe, and we're looking at Immortals maybe overcoming like whoever's above them, right? So like probably
EG?
TSM or
Yeah,
EG.
TSM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That would be
those are the two I
interesting.
have in mind.
That would be interesting to see Immortals top 4 or 5. I mean,
Yeah,
been
I think
a
they have the
while.
potential.
it's been a
yeah.
while.
They have the
I
potential.
think that would be pretty cool.
I mean, for me, end of split, I would put TL number 1.
Okay, yeah.
But aside from that, I mean,
Aside from that, who really cares, right?
Yes, sir.
Who really cares?
maybe
Who's going to
TSM
Worlds?
would be higher than 6th, but
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
think TSM
Maybe.
could get better. I mean,
I
Shenny
think
was like
too.
the support sub for FPX behind Chris. Like, he's good. Like,
I
if you're
I
on
know
FPX, you're
nothing.
probably good.
God, look at this mid laners, man. I don't
Yeah.
know half of them. I literally don't know 5
That's
of them.
why.
But
That's
Blue,
why.
Jojo,
that is good
Tukuvo.
news, though.
But that's
have
why
good
LS
people.
said Fudge could be top mid laner because none of these mid laners. You know,
I mean,
know who
yeah,
they are.
he could be top 4, but he also has to
He could
compete
also be-
against
he could also be
Abedage. He
10.
has to
There's a lot of
compete against
coulds, you know.
Yeah.
Power of Evil and
Bjergsen,
Bjergsen. Like
Huey,
that.
yeah, I
the
don't
the
know.
3 names he has to overcome are 3 pretty respectable mid lane names.
Hey, it's the
Yeah,
old. It's
that's
the old
true.
guard.
Oh, Blaze Olive, come on, man. That's gonna be intense. That's gonna be a battle.
I mean, it's
for the
like-
Don't you
ages.
dare disrespect my
Homeboy
man.
had a
Coming
good
over
year
and
last year
like,
on
oh
a
yeah,
team
I'm gonna
that
be
was
top
worse
3
than the other
ADC.
ones. So.
I'm gonna be top 3 ADC, and then the top 3 ADCs are like Double Lift, Wild Turtle, and Sneaky. It's like,
All I want to see, I'm so unbelievably hyped for Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves bot lane. That is gonna be
I
a
know.
banger. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the 2 best bot lanes we've seen in a very long time in NA play against each other. Like a
Yeah.
very long time. Like that's gonna be a banger. That's gonna be
It'll be like TL versus C9.
yeah.
Like the old ones with like
Yeah.
what was it, Double Lift Core JJ and then Sneaky and was it Smoothie at the time?
Sneaky Vulcan or I don't know.
Sneaky Vulcan.
Yeah, Sneaky Vulcan was pretty hyped too. Those was a good bot lane. Oh my goodness. This bot lane match is gonna be so sick though. Like
Heck
whoever
yeah.
gets last pick counter support is gonna like they're gonna have such a great time. I can't wait. Yeah.
So the games start on Friday, January 14th, and I am just looking. Yeah, so Team Liquid plays on Saturday. I'm looking forward to seeing this new roster, but should be pretty intense. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap up? I think we've discussed a lot of things. I'm excited for the new changes. I'm ready to get disappointed and hyped at the same time.
I just delete Kiana. I don't know. This is totally
Yeah.
random. Delete that champion. I hate her.
I agree.
I hate that
Akali.
champion. I don't know. I honestly I play Vlad. I don't really care about Akali. Like Kiana, I swear to God, I don't care how hard I body her in lane. She just one shots me anyways. It's
Yeah.
so stupid. I hate that champion.
Hey man, I don't care how hard anyone gets bodied. I get one shot anyways. So
Yeah, play a new role. Actually, your role is super strong right now for like the first time in like a year or two. So, whatever. Live it up while you
Whatever.
can. I promise you, by the time MSI comes around, you're gonna be like, wait, can we go back to preseason? ADC sucks.
Yeah, that's
I
probably how
wanted
it's
to bring
going to play
back the
out.
old narrative that we brought up last month, but just before the week before, again, we have our mini worlds. Let's see which region's the best.
Let's go.
I'm really excited for this season in the sense that so many rosters just like decided, okay, we're just gonna blow up our rosters, switch around stuff, get a lot of people from some of them from Academy, but a lot of them from elsewhere.
Yep.
And I'm fine with that at this point. I've already like coped my last copium. I'm like, we're going to import, and like if it's a 70-30 split or 80-20, I'm okay with that in terms of the amount of imports versus new talent from NA. Because I'm like, someone needs to prove himself from NA. Maybe it's going to be Jojo Pyun or whatever his name
Team
is.
Liquid has 0 American-born players.
That's true.
0.
is
None of
true.
them were originally residents. Well, absolutely none of them.
Yep.
Bjergsen is the closest to a resident.
I know.
He was the original import.
The original.
import.
The original.
Grandfather of imports is kind of poetic that he's on the import team now. He's
Yep.
finally completed Exodia.
He is
It's
the
come
resident
full
of the
circle.
import team.
That's so fantastic.
Back in my day, we didn't have no import rules.
I
We didn't
know.
have no residents. We bought a whole Chinese team and called them whatever it
LMQ.
was.
LMQ.
We didn't care back then.
The good old days. The
That was
good
a
old
funny
days.
team. I missed
What
I
a
missed
time
that
in
team.
life.
yeah, I missed them until it turned out one of their players was a sociopath or something.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I think it
let's
was
not-
the ADC, right?
Yeah, I think
Vasily?
ADC.
Vasily had problems. We're not going to get into
Vasily-
that. this
yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Man,
He may have
he's a wild person.
destroyed
Jesus.
like 4 computers or something at a tournament, but no big deal. Whatever.
I mean, it just goes to show you, man. ADC's something wrong with him, Alistair. I don't know.
Yeah, man,
As he's grinning,
we put ourselves through pain every day.
as he's grinning
And
evilly.
then you have Zhao Wei Zhao just getting banned casually for boosting
for
accounts.
boosting.
And
I
I
mean,
swear to God, do you guys remember he let out an interview saying he made more money boosting than he ever did in LCS? He was like,
That
I
doesn't
wouldn't,
surprise me.
I wouldn't change it for the world. And I was like, okay.
He was also really good, though.
Yeah, he was.
He probably made mad money. He boosted quickly.
He boosted so many accounts, and he's like, all right, ban me from LCS. I don't care. I make more
It's
money.
crazy how much money you makes, though.
He
It's
looked
So
happy.
funny.
It's stupid the amount of money you can make doing that.
Oh my gosh, it's stupid that there are people that will pay that money.
Yeah, that's also very true.
Yeah.
True.
That's the
So
reason I don't get mad at the boosters. I get
yeah,
mad at
because
people who get boosted.
there's only a market because there are people who will buy it. So
You have a Grandmaster account with every Lulu skin, $10,000.
$10,000. I know, right?
Every Lulu skin, oh my goodness, give me
That's right.
If they added up various Lulu, $20,000 easily.
20,000. Oh gosh. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Pretty good episode. I'm glad that we got to discuss all the changes. I'm excited for the lock-in tournament to see all the teams. But thanks again to my co-hosts. It's good to have you guys back. Honestly, I missed y'all. Kevin, Mitchell, Alistair, thank you for always sharing your wise insights. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to message us at questions at theallinpodcast.gg. And until next time, guys, enjoy your climb on the Rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Peace.